Blog Talk Radio.
Hey guys, this is Those Guys with your host, Matt Marrero, along with your other host,
Tristan Walter.
So, Tristan Walter, what are we talking about today? It's Christmas for you. It's just weekly Christmas right now until we get to like Mega Christmas, which is fucking like the new Star Wars movie. So for you, you're just excited all around.
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, we start out on a very snowy planet, so yeah, more along with your Christmas theme.
Oh God, I wasn't thinking that. Oh God. No.
Yeah, Luke was
it's
supposed
true.
to be, the decoration atop the tree. The Wampa wasn't going to eat him or anything. No.
He's just so excited. Mommy, I got a human for Christmas.
Play with your food.
Oh, good God. But yeah, so what we're talking about today is Star Wars 5, Episode 5, The Empire Strikes. What's funny is it's The Empire Strikes Back, but in my notes I wrote Star Wars 5, The Empire Strikes. What kind of bootleg version did I write down? It's obviously correct, as we're doing this live, it's correct while you're listening, and later on in the archives it's correct, because I've written it, through Blog Talk Radio correctly, but just like in my own notes, it's just Star Wars 5, The Empire Strikes. There's two other words that are missing, Matt.
The Empire backlashes.
Basically. But yeah, so it's The Empire Strikes Back, and you're a huge fan of this movie.
Yeah, I can't actually decide half the time whether Empire Strikes Back is my favorite movie or Return of the Jedi is my favorite. But I know, the consensus, or at least from what I've heard, the consensus is, the fan base-wise, Empire is supposedly the best movie out of, the whole thing.
Yeah, it's so interesting because, in my opinion, okay, so I'm rewatching the movies, right? It's been a very long time for me. Not so much for the quote-unquote fourth one, right? The New Hope, but for this one, number 2/5, I can never get over that. By the way, just number 2/5, the sequel. But anyway, yeah, it's been a very long time for me. So of course I remember key plot points where it's just like, yeah, you're totally like his dad and stuff. But and of course, and no, you know what's funny? You want to know how much, even if you've maybe never seen Star Wars, right? I feel like there's some people that have never seen Star Wars, still ingrained in their mind because of pop culture, that it's been so long for me, right, dude? The second I heard Lando Calrissian, the first word that came to mind, some kind of goddamn fucking word association, was go fuck yourself. That was my first. It was just Lando Calrissian.
I had to think for a second. I'm like, wait, what?
I was find a new one. Traitor. Find another one.
Right.
That was, look, he redeemed himself in the end, but in a fucking beautiful word association, that was the first thing that came to mind. Just, oh yeah, we're on the Lando system. We're Lando. The Lando system? No, Lando's the guy. Go fuck yourself. That was the first thing I heard, which is fuck you. And I was wait, no. I was let me see where this goes.
Yeah, even Leia says it herself, and you trust him? No, but he is my friend.
I think the best thing is just I thought you said you knew him. Yeah, I hope he forgot about that. That made me laugh so hard. I was just yeah, that's pretty much, that's fucking Han's life right there. Just, I really hope he forgot about the fact that we knew each other.
That was a long time ago. I'm sure he's forgotten about that. Not to mention that he apparently won the Falcon from him in a card game.
Oh my God, that was great. But anyway, so let's talk about. All right, so starting from, and we can jump around, but just, we obviously have already, but I want to talk about the opening crawl. So the opening crawl, because I didn't know what came next, in the sense that, I forgot about the very long, fight, on Hoth.
Right,
because it's been, because it's been a while. So the crawl was an interesting thing for me because while I love the crawl, I think everyone does. I felt like it took away from movie time. Not movie time as in, oh, we only have 2 hours in this thing. No. Like, they described everything that could have been cool. I know there was a 3-year gap. But if you didn't know that coming into it, you're just like, are you describing all the cool stuff? And then thankfully, all the cool stuff did happen. Because I feel like in A New Hope, the crawl described some really cool stuff, and then not that we got into, like, again, not trying to like bash A New Hope, because I really do like A New Hope, but but it felt like it was just, you had to introduce all the characters. So in doing that, it was kind of a little bit slower. In this, like certain sequels, because you don't have to introduce those characters, they're a little bit more action-packed. And some of the time, it doesn't ruin them. Like, I feel like The Avengers was not ruined, because it's like, oh, no, we introduced everybody. Great, action. This movie was not ruined by that idea, because it was like, hey, it's kind of like Star Wars. There's kind of like wars. So
if you haven't seen the first one, the fuck are you doing here?
No, but still, no. But the idea that, like, but even you saw the first one. Well, there were, there were some great space battles, but I feel like there wasn't a lot of ground, like, fighting. It was just really nice to see the rebels just fighting the Empire.
Right.
For half an hour.
Hey, I mean, to be honest, the Battle of Hoth, that's like my favorite. It's like my favorite thing ever.
No, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, it was, like, even though I love space fights, it was really cool to have that. Because usually, right, I would, I would come up and just, and I'm sure I sound like an ass, but I'd say, oh, well, it's the whole sequel thing that all of a sudden, a sequel comes out and it has to have more action and less depth. But again, I said it earlier to you, just in the, the same show, like, this is Star Wars. You're going to need to have some battles. Yeah. So I was really happy that, it wasn't really that slow, and it just kind of started off with like, hey, let's have a fight on Hoth. Yes, we did explain a lot in the crawl, but again, 3 years did go by. Let's have this fight happen. Yeah. And it did, and I really enjoyed it.
And I mean, in a big picture kind of sense, I always thought the Battle of Hoth was pretty important, especially following the events of A New Hope. It's like, hey, the rebellion just blew up, the Empire's new favorite toy. We just blew up the Death Star. What you got? Oh, you still have a fleet of Star Destroyers. Oh, right. That
was the thing too. I think that was interesting, kind of like showing people, like, hey, remember, even though we did have that whole scene with the, with the medals and the ceremony and everything, please remember, death is at every corner.
Yeah,
I don't know what George Lucas thinks the theme of this movie was, but it felt like the theme was death is around every corner. Good night, child. Good night, child.
I mean,
pretty much is. No, yeah, I know. Like, I feel like every chance they got, it was just, which is so funny how, you look in the fucking first movie, and it's just like, oh, no. Han did not shoot first, right? And just kind of, you look at this one, and you're like, look, George, I think those are the fucking least of your concerns.
Yeah.
You have Luke lose an arm. You have Yoda basically saying, you will fear. And it's just like, the entire time with that face of just like, break him, I will. By the way, not a lot of flipped dialogue from Yoga. Yes, his name is Yoga now, because we can't actually say Yoda on the air. We have to, it's copyright. See, you have to understand, Disney owns it, so we have to call him Yoga.
Oh, well, then we're already screwed.
There's Luck. I'm a huge fan of Luck Cloud Sitter. Such a huge fan of Luck Cloud Sitter. No, but seriously, Yoda, there was not a lot of flipped inverted dialogue, though, which was interesting because that's become, as the movies went on and everything, that became like a huge part of Yoda in pop culture. I mean, yes, he was still the, the wise old man, the Mr. Miyagi type, he was still that character, right?
Yeah. But
it's so interesting how his dialogue was not flipped in the way that everyone loves to do today.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It shows how, I don't want to use the word inconsistent because I don't want to, hurt your favorite movie series or general like franchise.
I mean,
but
there's nothing that you could do that hasn't already been done, to be completely honest. So, if you want to let it rip, go ahead, man.
All right.
It's not really going to faze me.
Was your phaser set to stun? Oh, snap. I just Star Trek.
No, I've only got
How
one
does that
setting,
feel?
Matt. I have one setting, and it's kill.
It's kill. It's gonna kill you, Matt.
You should feel your throat collapsing in around you right about now.
All right, it'll come soon. Yeah, right. I actually, it's like, I'm so good at talking. You hear how much I talk. It's still closed and I'm going.
Damn it, I have to try harder.
But anyway, so before we get to, because I don't want to sit here and just talk about inconsistencies forever, because, look, I have some other fun stuff I want to talk about. Like, I want to talk about, I remember playing on Hoth in the Super Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back game. Not sure if you had that as a kid. Did you have that?
No, I didn't. I did not, but I have seen it. It's
such
played.
A hard game, man.
Oh yes,
dude. I don't understand why they expected my 8-year-old ass. No, I'm sorry. I was 5 at the time. Why the fuck did they expect me? They didn't.
They did not.
No, they did not. Oh my god! Like, I feel bad. I think I'm a little bit. That. I feel like I'm anti-Hoth. I feel really bad. And we've talked about this before. You might see it later on next month. But I think I'm a little bit anti-Hoth. Some of our Let's Plays. And I feel bad about it. But
you should.
Yeah, I do. Because I like Hoth visually and playing on Hoth. But oh my god. So just not in that game. But here's the thing about Luke and Han dying that we saw early in the movie. So here's my only issue, I think, with that first 30 minutes where I sat there and thought, wow, the fight was cool. But then here was the problem, right? The scene where we thought that Luke and Han could die was really sad. But then the tension was just immediately sucked out. And I thought, oh, all right, that's cool.
I mean, yeah, okay. I can see what you mean. But they definitely had to get them back before the battle started.
Oh, of course. No, it would have been cool to see, like, them stumbling on the battlefield. But yes, you are correct. Yeah. By the way, Han cut a fucking hole in a space ice camel. Please, can we get to the Ewoks? The kids are freaking out right now. Can we just do that? Can we just fucking do that, please? Literally, the kids are crying.
Dude, I'm still stuck on Space Ice Camel.
Jesus Christ. And you know what I love, too? The idea of, like, I have a strange feeling the censors were just like, oh, you can't have it be red blood because that was the fucking problem.
No, we'll just, have some organs and shit. That's all.
I sat there and I was like, he's not really going to do that, is he? He cannot do that. He's not going to. And then he's like, I got to get in, we got to cut this thing open. And I was like, wow.
May smell bad, kid, but it'll keep you warm.
Yeah, no, I'm just like, guys.
I feel like
what?
I wonder if, like, because Han puts up a shelter, assumably, afterwards. It's like, I wonder if Luke actually asks him, like, was I in there, kid?
Yeah.
It's probably better that you were unconscious for most of this. It's like, you don't want to know.
You were working this thing better than Frank Oz works Yoda. You were just working the camel like a puppet. By the way, some really cool stuff. I don't know if you knew this before, but Frank Oz, was the puppeteer as well as the original voice for Yoda. And if you're sitting there and you're like, wow, I've heard Yoda's voice before somewhere and I don't know where. Well, he's been Miss Piggy as well as Fozzie the Bear on Muppets, a lot of Muppets, not the new Muppets, Not that there's anything wrong with the new Muppets. I love the new show. But not the new Muppets. But definitely not just the old 70s show. Like, he was in the, 70s Muppets and a lot of other movies. I think, like, Treasure Island as well. Like, a lot of stuff from our childhood, Muppets-wise. And he was also, let me make sure, he was also Cookie Monster, Bert, and Grover in Sesame Street.
Sesame Street.
Also, yes. Also, I don't know why. I feel like Yoda was modeled after a Henson puppet because you look at the Muppets, the way like their faces curl up. I know it's just some people might say it's just a puppet thing, but just somehow the way he did the puppet stuff. Like I could imagine him going slightly Kermit, even though he was picky, not Kermit. But still, no, just that the way like the face crumples up in the nose and everything. It was. I sat there and I was like, huh. Like it was a very interesting, thing to do, especially because. I think you've heard the stories, Tristan. The reason why it was all foggy was because there was basically like no floor, sort of. You had the puppeteers working with, the puppets underneath the stage.
Underneath.
And so, and Hamill was just so frustrated because for months he was the only human on set. And it really took a toll because think about it. It's him, the person manning R2-D2.
Yeah.
And Frank Oz manning, doing the puppeteering for Yoda.
Right.
So it's just like, Luke is just kind of like, ah. Or, Hamill's like, ah. Hell, even the only appearance from something that could have been human for 5 seconds was that random beast. That was clearly, that almost ate R2-D2. The only other thing. It's basically the Blue's Clues effect, where it's just the guy that played Steve just talking to nothing.
Oh, God.
Well, it's pretty funny. Like, that's just what it is,
Yeah.
You literally have to talk to no one. So, of course, Hamill did a very good job. But, yeah. So we had a lot of Dragon Ball Z references that I want to throw out there. Or rather, a lot of, Star Wars references in Dragon Ball Z. I forgot to mention this one to you. The pod that Luke was in, that he was recovering in, looks like the one that Goku was on Planet Namek, or the general, Saiyan space pods. Not space pods, but the pods where they recover in.
Yeah.
Even with the mouth apparatus. Yes. It was extremely interesting because I sat there and I thought, wow, that was the first thing I saw. And I think there was some stuff from the last movie that I might not be able to recall, but this one just on point. I just thought, wow, that's, the pod from Dragon Ball Z. Then, and I told you this before the show began, this one is more accurate because the next one is pure speculation on my end. But the first one, I can't remember the name of it. Is it Cloud City? Is that what it was called?
Yeah, Cloud
All right,
City.
Thank you. Yeah, Cloud City looks just like Corrin's Tower from Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Not necessarily when we get to Kami's Tower, because that's though it is a nice shape for Kami's Tower as well. But I think of Corrin's Tower because literally the shape, the way it was set up and everything, especially how you see the clouds all around it. And, this came out in 1980. Dragon Ball came out in 1985. And Corrin wasn't the first character, obviously, so it took a while for even, Corrin to appear.
Yeah.
So it's very, very interesting when you think about it, where you're just like, wait a minute. Huh. This is interesting. Because this movie came out, So,
interesting parallel.
Yeah. Well, because, of course, Dragon Ball being from Japan, yes, duh. Of course, a lot of our movies getting brought over to Japan as well, so that crossover, we get inspired by them. They also get inspired by us. So it's a very, very interesting thing. By the way, Dragon Ball starting in 1984 and the anime starting in 1986. But anyway, like the original Dragon Ball, not referring to Z. So, a lot of interesting stuff because, that kind of crossover. Because, and this is just pure speculation on my end, Yoda, the original voice for Yoda, reminds me of Sean Schemmel. I always get the name wrong. All I know is that I love him and he's a part of my childhood, so I hope that makes up for the fact that I've gotten his name wrong on probably every podcast I've talked about him on. but he's the voice of Goku in the English dub, the Funimation English dub of Dragon Ball Z, as well as King Kai. Now, I want to ask you about about this if I ever could. He sounds like his King Kai is doing an impression of Yoda. When you hear his Yoda compared to this version of Yoda, and maybe even some of the other ones, that have been done. And it's so interesting to me because, of course, we've had I think 3 voice actors for Yoda at this point. We've had the original. We had one for the Star Wars radio play that was done around, many of them were done, but one was done around this time where we had Hamill. We had all 3, Han, Luke, and Leia. We had all of the Carrie Fisher, as well as Harrison Ford. We had them all reprise their roles, and then Frank Oz wasn't the voice of Yoda in this radio play. It was some other person who I can't recall right now. And then the next Yoda was the Yoda we all know, that's been doing it for everything.
Right.
But anyway, so the point is that so we, in my opinion, it sounds like his version of King Kai sounds like Yoda, and I was like, I wonder if that was intentional or not. Because it's the whole the master teaching you everything and stuff like that. Also, Yoda was really funny at first and kind of wacky. And he reminded me of King Kai.
Yeah.
And I was
it's actually kind of funny. Sometimes, I used to wonder when I was a kid, because Yoda goes into exile after the events of Revenge of the Sith, the 3rd movie, or the 6th movie.
Right.
He goes into exile. Well, because you started doing it, now I have to follow up with it.
I know, yeah.
Yoda goes into exile, and I always thought, being on Dagobah, completely alone. Granted, he feels the Force around him and all the life, on Dagobah, on the planet. And, he definitely continues his training in solitude, but I wonder if that solitude kind of maybe got to him in a sense. Because, obviously it's an act
a little
he puts
bit
on when Luke first lands, but I wonder, just how much of it was actually an act, too. Because,
I think the beginning, I think the jokes were an act, but when he got serious, he felt even more serious than what I remember. And it's also been a long time since I've seen the first 3, quote unquote, the last 3, whatever you want to call it, right? Because I haven't seen those, I think, since they first came out, and I was really young at the time as well. And and I never really went back. Now I want to go back because you and I can podcast on them, but other than that, I would probably never go back. Minus the 3rd one, which was a little bit of fun, but I'd still never go back. But yeah, the point is that is that looking at Yoda, right? I really do feel like and not anger necessarily, but his harsh teachings. I do think that was based on him not being around. It's not like he wasn't a strict teacher back in the day, but I don't know, something about just it's just I'm not going to feel afraid. And he's like, oh, you will. And I'm like, Jesus, Yoda.
Yeah.
I'm like, can we show some Ewoks for the kids or something?
Oh, God.
Seriously, that's how I felt the entire time. It's just like, guys, come on, no Ewoks in this movie? I forgot which one the Ewoks are in. Come on, we got to make the kids feel good. R2, say something bleep bloopy. Come on. Just help the kids out, man.
I don't know. Maybe I feel like maybe Yoda felt like he had to be a little harder on Luke because of his connection with Vader, and I don't know. He wanted to. I guess in a sense he wanted to prepare him as best he could. It's like, you don't you don't understand, kid. You don't just go up against Vader. You don't just walk in and start fighting him. No. That's not how this shit works.
I love it. Just Luke's like, I'm going to be just fine. And he's just like, It's like, look, I'm going to come right back here, give you a high five. Everything will be A-okay. Oh, my God. Yoda's like, cannot lift hand. Puppet. But anyway, so, yeah. Here's the first, I'm going to love this. I think there was another one too, but this is the first one, so I have to bring it up to you. So here's a game that we started last podcast that we did. So last episode, if you will. Well, technically it is an episode 4. Last episode. The game is Explain That Kiss Away, Tristan.
Oh, God damn it.
All right, let's play the game. Because, we all know that, the original intention was not to make Luke and Leia brother and sister. Hell, it only took the final draft of this movie for them to put in the idea that Darth Vader was going to be Luke's dad. The first draft of this movie actually had Luke's dad being a ghost talking to Luke.
Right.
So in other words, in the last movie, it just, because I think we said this last podcast, and we actually were a little bit, or I was wrong. But yeah, I was wrong, because I said, oh, wow, cool foreshadowing. But I was wrong, because there was no foreshadowing. Just having Obi-Wan say Darth Vader killed your father was just perfect symbolism that, thank God, it worked out. Right? No, it's true, though, because this movie, in the first draft of Empire Strikes Back, Luke's dad was going to be a ghost that was going to talk to him at one point or another.
Right.
That was changed, and eventually the idea came up of just, Darth Vader being Luke's dad.
Right.
So, and of course, we don't even have any confirmation of Leia being sister-daughter yet. So,
right.
That's another thing that feels, we'll read about it more, as we do the next one, but it feels very much like, oh, hey, you didn't know this was coming either, did you? Because I'm sorry, it feels a little awkward if they knew things were coming. Because in the first movie, minus one kiss, I was like, yeah, dude, I understand you, right? I was like,
right.
We fought on it, but I was like, but it was like, oh, like good luck. This one, it was just like, let's play the game, Tristan.
Well, okay. For starters, all right. The main focus of that was supposed to piss off Han. I don't think Leia really had any other intention behind that other than pissing off Han. And I don't think Luke did either, because he was basically, just his body gestures, he's like trying to play that off like that didn't just happen.
Oh, Luke looked pretty happy. Luke was like, a lady. Because, look, they don't know. Of course they don't know. That's the obvious.
No.
Yes, you can say, oh, they don't know, right? But it's one of the things which is like, we've talked about this last episode. The creators should know. Like, that's a pretty weird curveball to throw at us. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So
I'm always looking at it from the perspective of the characters. Whatever the fuck the people who came up with this shit, whatever, that's completely different.
All right, yeah, no, look, well, if we're going to look at it from the character's perspective, obviously they didn't know yet, right?
No.
So, but, yeah, that it's always a fun time. Not really.
Yeah, no, of course it is. I know.
Yeah. But anyway, so here's something different. First time we get to see Imperial Walkers. That was fun.
Yeah.
And not only that, but they were made using stop motion, which was really cool.
Yeah.
So somebody painted the backgrounds. They used stop motion, and they painstakingly, made them a thing. Painstakingly, because if you don't know what stop motion is, my God, it takes a while.
Yeah. And I think that was really well done.
Oh yeah, it was. I loved it.
And
I loved it a lot.
Another piece that's kind of similar to that, or maybe not exactly similar, but an interesting fact. I'm surprised I didn't bring it up last time, but the trench scene for the Death Star is actually a metric butt ton of battleship models that have been cannibalized and just made into that trench, and it's actually filmed as a car going by in a parking lot at the studio.
Oh my God!
So those are the flyby shots that you see of the X-wings going down the trench, just sped up.
Yes, I love stuff like that. Yeah, what's funny is you have a lot of stuff like that happen. I mentioned last podcast, the idea of like Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Tokusatsu, basically Tokusatsu being the Japanese word for special effects, roughly. And Tokusatsu in Japan, it's like how we in America have taken the word anime, even though anime in Japan means animation, we've taken that word to be like, oh, anime, Dragon Ball Z, Yu-Gi-Oh, Shaman King, all this stuff, Pokemon, all that stuff. But in Japan, animation just means animation. So Tokusatsu in America, we've taken that phrase to mean Super Sentai, which became Power Rangers in the U.S., Kamen Rider, which became Kamen Rider in the U.S., also Mask Rider, Ultraman, Godzilla, stuff like that, right? So the point is in Japan, Tokusatsu is also like Star Wars is also considered Tokusatsu there as well. But getting to the main point, in Super Sentai they also actually cannibalize the suits, which really hurt me as someone who just loves these suits and stuff. Of course they'll put some in display and things like that, and if they ever need to do a crossover, they'll make suits from scratch again because they know what they're doing. They have all the plans and stuff. But but yeah, if they need to, usually what'll happen is after a show is over, it's just like, okay, cool, cannibalize the monster suit for other monster suits in the future. And then what you'll do is you'll see a monster suit and you'll go, wait a minute, is that a piece from, last year? And it probably will be.
Yeah.
Because they put a lot of them in warehouses that they're actually they have them under a lot better fucking conditions now. God, there was a point when the conditions were so bad, the suits had mold on them, and it made me sad as a fan.
Aww.
But no, really fucking sad. But now they're good. And of course, there's a museum for all the superhero suits, just the monster suits that are like, yep, cut them up, chop and slice them, chop and slice them. By the way, fucking Big Getty Star, just the goddamn fucking. I mean, no, let's be honest, right? Just Big Getty Star from, the movie that we don't really talk about a lot in Dragon Ball Z, Return of Cooler, or Cooler's Return. That's how much I care.
Just Photoshop Cooler's face on top of the Death Star.
That's basically what they did. And some people were fine with it. I mean, I didn't necessarily enjoy it because not a big fan of the film, but
if
you've heard us talk about it on our podcast. we both had the same exact thought. God, we've sold ourselves out.
Yep. Hey, you did it first. I just followed in your footsteps because you told me to.
I asked you to. I love what I told him to. Hey, you want to talk about DBZ for an hour? Would you mean like we always do? Yeah.
Who's more the fool or the fool who follows him?
I feel like that's just a Yoda quote right there.
That was actually Obi-Wan, but okay. Close enough.
Thank you. I was just like, it sounds like it's from Star Wars that I just watched, but, wait, which Obi-Wan? Living Obi-Wan or dead Obi-Wan? Because they both exist for way longer than they should.
He was living when he said it. It was in A New Hope when they were,
I thought it was.
When they got pulled onto the Death Star.
Yeah, I thought it was. It's just like I sat back and I'm like, I have to now differentiate because dead Obi-Wan has been around. Actually, dead Obi-Wan has been around longer than living Obi-Wan. Can we say that? I think we can fucking say that. Like, dead Obi-Wan has given more advice to Luke Skywalker than living Obi-Wan ever fucking has. Like, I love the idea of the visions, but I think it's not even in my notes. It's just coming up in my head right now. I think that's a little bit too much. Like, I love visions and stuff. I'm a huge fan of it. But the idea of, like, you've literally taught him more in death. Like the idea of, wow, he lost his mentor. Oh, man, that's so cray. Not really cray, but, like, that's so heartbreaking, right? Like, we'll see him live on without the mentor. What fucking nobody fucking lived on without their mentor. Now Luke has two mentors.
Right. He passes him on to Yoda, basically.
But still, it was just like, my God, because I understand the idea of like, oh, lead him there. Or, oh, you're near death. But the fact that he talked to him while Yoda was just chilling there and Luke was in no mortal danger, I sat back and thought, guys, come on, guys. He's dead.
Yeah. I mean,
if that isn't a fucking Dragon Ball Z reference, I don't know what is, but go on. God, he's coming back all the time, guys.
He is dead, but there's actually... I mean, Obi-Wan even says to Vader before Vader kills him, he says, "If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you will ever imagine." And to preserve his consciousness past death, that some would consider that pretty damn powerful.
Pretty much. It's a little scary.
Yeah, a little bit. But I think Obi-Wan's basically just there to reassure Luke, like, yeah, this is Yoda. He's the real deal. Trust me.
Oh, yeah,
Train me.
Of course. Yeah. By the way, so for a split second, I just sat there and thought, with the whole vision in the forest, which was really fucking well done, by the way. But just, no, Luke, you killed your dad. Turns out he actually killed Luke. By the way, another scene where it's just like, just Luke's fucking chops another man's head off. Could we get some jugglers in here or something? The kids are crying. The kids are fucking crying. Can we get a juggler? No, not one dressed up like a clown.
I mean, I get the feeling that's why people really liked Empire Strikes Back, because in all essence, yes, it is very much a darker movie.
Oh, no, it was definitely written that way, and they really wanted to write it that way. It just, it was just really funny to me, I think, because it definitely showed that it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my
and
God.
The whole,
and by the way, I love
scene
the
in
whole...
the cave.
Mm-hmm.
That
was purely freaking alien. It was just like, well, they, I think they're working with Ridley Scott on this, so good on them.
I mean, I've always had different, I'm sure people have many different interpretations of what that's supposed to symbolize, but I always thought it's basically, for Luke, if you end up killing Vader, you'll only, become him or take his place.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. When you said cave, I thought you were referring to, that you were jumped to, because I thought it was in the forest, not in the cave, when Luke fought.
Well, yeah,
himself.
It's a cave in the forest.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yoda refers to it as a cave.
Right, I'm so sorry. When I heard cave, I thought you were referring to when they technically weren't in a cave. They were in another being, right? This is Han, Chewie. Yeah, and that's why I said those flying bat things. I was like, yeah, they teamed up with Ridley Scott for some alien shit there.
Right.
Right, but no, yeah, I get, yeah, it definitely, I think, shows that it's just like, if you indulge in the dark side, you will basically be no better than Vader.
Yeah.
Because the idea of just like, why should I do, or what kind of good can I do, or why should I do it? Just like, there's no reason for why. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just do. Good advice from Yoda,
laugh.
I think.
I kind of laugh nowadays as like a kid. That scene always confused me so much.
Oh, because it was just, actually, I'm thinking back. Yeah, I think it did too. No, because I'm thinking about old me, as in younger me, just sitting there thinking, wait, but is Luke okay? No, you little idiot. Luke's just fine.
Yeah.
Luke is just fine. So yeah,
if he keeps this shit up, he's not gonna be.
No. So after hearing Yoda be Yoda the whole time, I sat there and I was like, I don't know who's the harsher teacher, Yoda or Vader?
Well, I mean,
verbal
Yoda would more
abuse.
criticize you and kind of hurt your feelings in a way, but to point out your flaws so that you can, try again and be better next time. Whereas Vader, goes the more medieval method. It says, "Ha, you left yourself open. Oh, there goes your hand. Oh, I'm sorry. Did that hurt? Too bad. Get up."
At least Vader accepted that guy's apology, and everyone felt that Vader was a great man for accepting it. They were like, wow, Lord Vader is so kind. Let's take away his dead body. He had a wife.
That's like, that's one of my favorite lines by Vader.
Yes. Yeah.
Apology accepted, Captain Mida. I'm just stepping over his corpse.
Oh,
and just,
man.
No, he just waves his hand to the other guards too, like, get this. There you go. There's one for Vegeta. Clear the trash off the battlefield.
Oh man. Also, I loved when the guy was like, "I'll take full responsibility," and I'm like, This is why you're not going to work out in corporate empire. Corporate empire is just like, "Oh, hey, John, you're the new recruit, right? yeah, John, awesome. You should go tell Vader that they left. Wait, but so I tell him that you're the one that did it? No. I'll go tell him that later. You just first tell him that they left. Okay, John?
Yeah.
You make sure to go do that, all right? Glad that you came in to join the Empire. Kid dies. Yeah. Is there something that you had to tell me? Nope, nothing at all. Other than fuck John, right? What an ass he was. Right? Oh, man, but you're so cool, Lord Vader. Just Vader.
I am so glad.
I am so cool.
Just turns around in the chair.
Oh, man. I wonder if, like, in a way, he's just stuck as, like, young Anakin. Like, in a weird way. Like, mentally, where, like, you know what, Lord Vader? You are so totally radical. I am so totally radical. like, I wonder if he's still mentally stuck at, like, how old was he? Like, early 20s? Or, like, late teens? Early, like, he was like 23 or something, right?
Late teens was episode 2. He's definitely in his probably late 20s or mid 20s at least. In
no, late 20s makes me think he's older. I want him to be early 20s.
Oh God. Well, it's funny because I kind of think they do have that little bit of parallel to how Anakin was. Because if you notice, like with the Battle of Hoth and everything, okay, granted he lets the stormtroopers and everybody else do the dirty work first to get the base down and the shield and everything, but Vader's right there strutting through the destroyed remains of the rebel base. It's like Vader will do some dirty work himself, maybe not also, cutting down the front lines or anything, but he gets shit done on his own when he wants to.
Yeah. We made a joke about Vader and Frieza last episode, and I think we always do in a way. But I have to be honest, Vader, a little bit more competent than Frieza. Make sure to just get in there, make sure, yes, people will escape through. But hey, look, Luke did a crazy thing, like to escape. That's still, he still technically could have died. So it was pure luck. But the idea that, I don't know, because even though we made the joke last episode about, Cooler being the one, and Dragon Ball Z being the one to let, them go, it's the same way in the last movie how, the random crew members let go C-3PO and R2-D2. Still, at the same time, Vader is right there in the front lines, and then when told, oh, yeah, I think there's something going on over there, Vader's just like, perfect, we'll send them down. Right?
Yeah.
Without any kind of hesitation. Rather than just, oh, I don't know. No, that was the other asshole.
No, bring me my ship.
Basically. So it was really cool. What was not cool was that C-3PO was dead. He wasn't dead later, but at the time I was like, wow, that, again, just... It was the point when C-3PO died that I sat there and thought, wow, no amount of Ewok juggling not clowns can make the kids stop crying.
Well, they killed R2, quote unquote, in A New Hope too. But because when they pull him out, he's like, oh, R2, and it's like, don't worry, we'll have him fixed up. That's the good thing about being a droid. It's like we can just put you back together.
Oh, I know, but that was immediately like, oh, no, don't worry, we'll have him fixed up. This one was just like, oh, what are you doing? What are you? Yeah. And then just fucking Chewie, he's in the scrap heap, guys. Jesus
you found him in a junk pile.
He was for 20 minutes.
I would have laughed if Leia just turned around and looked at Han like, did you have anything to do with this? No, why would I do that?
Actually, I feel like an earlier draft or some draft would have basically had her looking at Han like, Han, come on. Because it really, I think a lot of people were just like, Han did it.
Well, it's funny. There even is a scene when they're repairing the Falcon. I think it's when they're in the asteroid, and he's talking to C-3PO saying, oh, you need to replace this on the hyperdrive. Mm-hmm. And he says, oh, well, of course I'll have to replace it. And then he looks up at Chewie and he's like, hey, I think we're going to need to do this, like trying to say it so 3PO doesn't hear that he just took his advice because he'd never hear the end of it.
C-3PO is a wonderful creature. I can't even call him a droid. Just a wonderful creature. God, I love C-3PO.
mean, I think it's funny because, you know, him and R2 or the comedy duo are kind of like the comic relief of the original trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, nobody gets, because 3PO is still intelligent and still useful, I suppose. That's how people would put it. But 3PO, like, I mean, there are moments where the film is, you know, trying to get you to not like 3PO, because there's one point where they were, when they're hiding on the back of the bridge of the Star Destroyer, 3PO's like, you know, this time you've gone too far. I don't see why we can't just, you know, surrender. I'm sure they'll be fine. And Leia just switches him off. It's like, thank you.
Yeah. I know. That was the one time I was like, hey,
shut the fuck up, 3PO.
You're a dumb. You're a dumb right now, 3PO. You're a big dumb.
Yeah.
So, God, I didn't erase this from my notes. I have to because we already talked about it, but I want to say it again. My note is, fuck you, Lando. Anyway. So here's the
Han
interesting
got one
thing.
good fuck you, Lando punch in, too. So
basically, it's so interesting because, like, while I understand it's like, you know, Lando pretty much could do nothing. At the same time, I feel like during the hug, he could have been like, watch your back.
Yeah, bro.
Like, I feel like there could have been, because, like, it's like they got here before you. And it's just like, but you hugged him. I don't know, like, they were close enough to be like, haha, you better be careful around here. What do you mean by that?
I mean,
a look.
I get the feeling he was probably already being watched at that point. And they're like, if you do anything screwy, we're just going to blow you out of the fucking sky.
It would have been interesting because, like, that's true. But I would have done, I don't know, like, some kind of elongated hug. Like, dude, what are you doing? Oh, it's just been a long time, you know? We don't know when you're going to see you back. Like, there's little key phrases you can use that aren't just like, hey. So
the Empire just landed right before you. Funny story. They're going to kill us all.
Funny story. You're not the only visitors today, and hell, not even from the same side. Oh, man. What a story. What a story. It's like, wow, the Empire and the Alliance? What are the odds? Pretty heavy. Oh, we're all going to die now. They're cutting us out from the bottom.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose there could have been something there. But, I mean, then again, Lando is, you know, the quote-unquote scoundrel, too, so he's kind of in it to save his own ass, too. Well, as much as he felt bad about betraying them, he's still kind of like,
also,
I don't want to die.
Also, it's interesting because it's his own. It's not even just his own. It's his general, like the town, the city, the area.
The city
because Because I will admit, I do think he does sit there and think the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So he really is a lot more, I think, layered than some people make him out to be. Because I think for years, a lot of people were just like traitor, and it's like, whoa, yes, right, yes,
yeah,
fuck you, correct,
but at
correct.
the same time.
Yeah, no, like, had he said no, they would have landed to an Empire-ruled, like, you know, wasteland.
Right. Yeah.
So, in a way, they got out of it pretty lucky, pretty well, like, you know, intact.
Yeah. Right.
So, yeah, one thing I want to mention, though, this part gave me goosebumps, and I don't know if it was meant to be funny or just as serious as I took it, because I feel like people can take it either way. Yeah. The idea that when Han was, after he was tortured, he said, they never even asked me any questions. That is fucking cold.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't want info out of him. They just tortured him. Like, that's, like, James Bond, right? Was
that's basically, I feel like that's Vader basically going, that's for the asteroid field, motherfucker.
No, it's not like James Bond was once interrogated by being, strapped to a chair naked and was being hit in the balls.
Ooh.
But at least he was being asked questions.
Right.
Like, the Empire tortured Han just because he was part of a team that, destroyed the Death Star, which actually does sound like a punishable offense if you're on Team Evil.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you're on Team Evil, it does sound like, well, that was a pretty evil thing to do, Han. I mean, good thing. We're evil.
And I
so,
mean,
like,
you know what makes it even worse? Like, they're testing out the carbon freezing process on a living being, too. So it's like, we're going to, what we're going to do to you after this, we'll probably kill you. But we're going to torture you first before we possibly kill you.
Oh, yeah, no, like, this has a chance of killing you. This has a chance of killing you. So, I love it. Well, we don't want to kill you too quick. You know how, like, in the muscles, you got to really flex. You got to work out. You can't just be dead. You don't just go and work out. No, you have to, like, get your body used to it. Han, we're just helping you through the dying process.
Yeah.
You can't just go from 0 to dead, man. You have to work those muscles out, torture you a little bit. But
and that kind of makes you think even more to when Han actually gets up and slugs Lando for everything.
Mhm. Yeah.
He just got
tough.
tortured, and yet he was angered enough that he was able to muster up the strength to deliver a pretty solid right hook.
Basically. It was really, really funny, I think, to see. Really fun to see. Also, when he was put in the carbonite, just the idea of just like, no, Han is, quote-unquote, dead.
Dead, yeah.
Because like even, it's so interesting because you don't have to watch another movie to know whether or not, Han Solo stops being fucking, Jabba's, like, wall ornament. Like his what was it? His, what are they called? The shelf elves or something?
Oh, God.
Yeah. You don't have to watch another movie. Like, they did their hardest to say, oh, it might not kill him. Oh, it might not kill him.
Yeah.
Like, they did not want to in any way just be like, no, he's totally going to die. And then be like, well, maybe he isn't. Like, not like one maybe he isn't. There were about like 3, oh, but it might not.
Yeah.
To make you sit there and go, so he's going to be okay.
Right.
Because one of them is just like, oh, that's a nice one-off line. And then, and then you can yell at people who are just like, wait a minute, Han comes back? That's so stupid. It's just like, if you actually fucking paid attention. But you don't have to pay attention.
Yeah.
It was done enough times.
That's like the whole scene where Chewie's, choking Han, and he's like, wait, there's still a chance to save him. Stop fucking choking me and go save him, damn it.
That one is fine. But, like, the other 3 were just like, there's that one, there's C-3PO, and then there was another time before it. I forgot when, or after, maybe. But there was about, or I think during the process, I think they said it too. So it was just, away from C-3PO. So you just have about like 2-3 times that you're just like, I get it, he might not die, kill him already. No. Or don't, whatever the process fucking does.
Yeah.
No, what's so interesting is, I think you know this, the original line for the whole, like, I love you thing, the original line was, I love you too, from Han.
Right. Yeah.
And both the writer, that wasn't Lucas, because there were 2 writers, well, there were 3 writers on this. It was Lucas and then a woman who, I'm going to look up her name right now. Sadly, she wrote the first draft, and Lucas wasn't the biggest fan of it, and he was going to talk to her about it, but she ended up dying of cancer.
Oh, God. Okay.
Yeah, so Lucas had to find someone else to help him write the script. And then that was the guy that stayed with him, like through the filming process.
Right.
And, and he liked this guy, actually, because this guy impressed him with the first draft of Indiana Jones.
Right.
So it was like, hey, you impressed me. Leigh Brackett, she passed away.
Right. And
then he was working with, let me see. Really? You're not going to do this? You're not going to? Yeah, Lawrence Kasdan, who had just completed writing Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so, so I believe it was either who was it? Because I'm thinking it was one of either the director, which is Irvin Kershner, or the producer, Gary Kurtz. I know one of those 3 men was with Harrison Ford, like when the line was being said, and they were just like, this does not sound right.
Yeah.
Like coming from Han, right?
Yeah.
Even
well,
though I would have
whole...
liked something, I would have liked something a bit more like away from like I know, because Han was the one that was putting the moves on her throughout like a movie and a half, an episode and a half. But
yeah.
I will admit, I Love You Too is a bit like, it would have been extremely cliche, you know, for them, like for the movie to turn to that. So like I understand, but it was really interesting because that line, it was just like they were trying to do different takes. They didn't know what happened, like what to do. So basically, they told Harrison Ford just improv.
Yeah.
I love it. Just one of the highest grossing movies at the time. Improv. It worked. So he just said, I know.
Well,
and that's the line that stuck. That's the line that that stuck.
And
stuck.
I mean, to me that feels just perfect as Han Solo, because if he's like, for all intents and purposes, I'm pretty sure he's like, I'm gonna die. This is going to kill me. These are my last words. I better fucking make them good. And I think he was still just trying to put on a front at that point. Like, oh, don't worry, Leia, watch this. I'm going to get out of this. Watch. Any second now. I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to get out of this any second now.
I really have to pee. I love you. I'm the one that shot the C-3PO. Like, I feel like there could have just been alternate takes. Just, I love you. Beat up Lando for me, please. Fuck that guy. I love you. I think Vader is Luke's dad, but don't tell Luke yet.
Well,
that would have been the best. Just wait, what?
Because even as Han is slowly lowered into the chamber too, he kind of for a split second like tries to fake a smile too, like, nope, don't worry, he hasn't flipped the switch yet. I'll think of something. And
then pain, sheer pain.
Yeah.
Because no matter what anyone tells you, it's just like, oh, don't worry, he's frozen in time, he's fine. Yeah, but it hurt to get into that moment. It really looked like it hurt. But so
you try getting shot with liquid nitrogen that's metallic at the
I'd
same
rather
time.
Not. I would rather not try
exactly.
that.
Exactly. That sounds so like
painful.
Bad.
Yeah. So here's something that wasn't bad: the fight with Luke and Vader. That is a great way to have a final fight to end a movie. Because, I told you last episode, whatever you want to call it, last podcast, it was like, I love the, the space battle, but something about it felt, as if there could have been more, or it could have been different, or, whatever it might be. This movie, I sat there and thought, Luke versus Vader, Yeah. I don't know, maybe it's also because of the fact that, it's been so long and because of pop culture. This scene, along with a lot of the first movie, along with the scene where, they take off Vader's helmet from the next movie, all of those are one movie to me, and I think a lot of other people as well. Which I know might be hard for you because you have watched them so many times and you love all of them. But thinking of the key scenes and everything, for me it feels like, I think a lot of people too that aren't like you, basically as amazing as you are. No, it's true.
I can understand
Star Wars
that.
Fans.
When I was younger, when I was younger, I didn't exactly appreciate each film individually. I kind of really enjoyed parts of each, and I kind of remembered those parts
funny.
And associated them together. Like, my favorite part of the, A New Hope was the Death Star attack, and then my favorite part of Empire Strikes Back was the Battle of Hoth. And my favorite part of Return of the Jedi was the second Death Star attack,
Yeah. But that's actually pretty funny. So it's different scenes, but it's still, if we put my scenes with your scenes, we'll make a movie. We'll make three,
exactly.
Maybe.
But it's like, it's only as I've gotten, a little bit older have I been able to, watch the movies and actually appreciate each individually,
Yeah.
So
I get that. But the final fight though, Luke Vader.
Yeah.
That was beautiful to me. Because look, I respect the fight with the Lucas did the first lightsaber fight. Not that Lucas wasn't in a fucking lightsaber fight. No. Him having the fight with Obi-Wan and Vader, right?
Vader and Obi-Wan.
I do respect it, especially because of its Kurosawa, references and general, like the whole samurai, slow and, like as if they really were swords, and I like it. But I really enjoy how Luke versus Vader turned out. You know what I mean? And even some of the, as much as we love to shit on the prequels, and sometimes even act like they don't exist, at the same time, I really do enjoy the lightsaber fights in there as well, how fast-paced they became.
No, dude, the Anakin versus Obi-Wan in
Episode 3/6.
In Revenge of the Sith, holy shit. Like, that's got to be my favorite duel ever. And it's kind of funny how I saw an interview at one point and they talked about the different styles. Like they used different like sword styles and sword play in versus, the original trilogy versus the new trilogy. And how, the original trilogy is supposed to be like, heavy swords, long swords, broadswords, even like you said, samurai, katana. And the new trilogy uses more like short sword play and stuff like that. Or even with Dooku with like fencing and, stuff like that. And it's interesting, it is.
It really is interesting, the different sword styles and stuff like that they use.
But as a comparison between Vader and Obi-Wan and Vader and Luke, I feel like the battle with Vader and Obi-Wan, like I always thought that was kind of slow too. But the more I think about it, the more I realize, granted, Obi-Wan has the Force with him, but I mean, even Vader says, "Your powers are weak, old man." And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, well, I guess he's kind of right.
He's kind of old.
I mean, Obi-Wan's really not as spry as he used to be.
Right.
But I feel like the main idea is that Obi-Wan is buying time for Luke. He's not there to fight Vader because the thing you really don't see with Vader until we see with him fighting Luke, Vader is a fucking beast. Like, Luke attacks him, two-handedly with an overhead strike, and Vader just stops him with one hand and then pushes him off. Like, the mechanical, like, he has mechanical legs and arms. He's definitely got the height advantage. Vader is a powerhouse. All he has to do is swing with one arm. Granted, it's a lightsaber. It'll cut through just about anything. But even if it was just a regular sword, he would cut through you like butter.
Basically, yeah. So,
that's the whole thing. And Vader's a good duelist too. I mean,
I hate
you
to
saw
use the
that
word duelist, but yes.
Well, sword duelist. I mean,
I know.
What else?
No, I know.
What else would you call it?
No, because my first thought is just like,
it's time to duel.
I put down my trap card.
I play the Blue-Eyes White Dragon.
I play the Death Star. Fuck your blue eyes.
Oh God.
Screw the rules. I'm with the Empire. But yeah, no, or in that case, screw the rules. I'm with the Rebel Alliance. Well, I'm with the Empire because this voice could only work in the Empire.
Yeah.
I could not do this voice with the Rebels. No, but also Yami means darkness. It's in my damn name. But anyway, it does. It does.
Yes, it does.
It's not a lie. But anyway, so getting back to Luke's hand was cut off. Straight up lost his hand. Luke lost his hand just like Rick did in The Walking Dead. And strangely, in the exact same way.
What?
No, I'm kidding. But no, but it's funny. Yeah, right? Just everyone like, wait a minute. It was in the comic books. You didn't read the comic book. That's why you shouldn't watch. You shouldn't just watch the show. You have to watch the comic book too. You can't just.
Right.
Can't just watch the show.
Okay.
No, all jokes aside, Rick has not lost his hand in the show yet, actually, so I should. But he did in the comic, actually.
Yeah.
He got his hand chopped off. So that's why it's like, just like Luke did, and in the exact same way.
Yeah, and it's actually funny, like, watching the fight, you can really tell how Vader fights and how he actually really does, as a Sith would, rely on his, anger and hatred, because at the beginning of the fight, he's all cool, calm, and collected, and it's like, you can't beat me, so let's just, let's have some fun. I'm going to test you a little bit to see if what the Emperor says about you is true. Mm-hmm. And for a while, he does that. And then Luke, he holds his own for a little bit. But by the time Vader switches, because that's the thing, like, during the fight, Luke holds his own, and yes, he gets knocked around a bit, but he's able to get back up, and because Vader easily disarms him at one point without cutting off his hand and throws his lightsaber down the steps, and Luke then has to fumble and, get back. And Vader pushes him into the, carbon freezing pit, and he says, maybe you're not as powerful as the Emperor first thought. And then he is able to use the Force in combat to get himself out of it. But towards the end of the fight, so I feel like Luke actually proves himself as a duelist to Vader. He says, all right, you're pretty good. And I kind of wonder if Vader actually looks at Luke's lightsaber and says, that's mine. Or whether he even remembers that or not. I'm sure he must.
Oh, it's very interesting because I want to mention, I think now, before we get to the end of the actual show/movie, is a great time to talk about some of the edits, actually. Right. Because there were some interesting edits that make you, because at the time, you do think that, right? You're just like, does he even know that it's his son? What's interesting is that, let me see where I am right here. No, because, depending on which version you watched, right? So the 2004 Star Wars DVD release, the one that you have, I think, one of the ones that you have, because you also have the VHS tapes somewhere. In this one, the Emperor is now portrayed by,
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that is an edit.
That's an edit. So by Ian McDiarmid, who played the Emperor in Return of the Jedi. So basically they threw him in there, and they even added new dialogue. They added in dialogue that said that they informed Vader that the new enemy is the offspring of Anakin Skywalker. And what's funny is you're like, when do they have the time to record this? They recorded it while they were doing Episode 3. Right.
Although I have to admit, I feel like that was said in the original one too. I don't think it was
what was said
explicitly laid out.
What was said
the son of Skywalker must not be allowed to be a Jedi.
This new Skywalker, though. I thought they were referring to Luke. I thought they said the son of Luke Skywalker. Maybe that's why they did it. They were just like, it doesn't seem clear that Skywalker is referring to. Because here's the thing.
I'd have to go back and listen to the other version.
No, because the other version said exactly what you said, right? Literally what you just said, the son of Skywalker. In my head, though, it was like, are they saying they don't want Luke to have a child? Because if Luke has a child, then, not only is Luke strong, but, because remember, Luke is the only one left with the Force.
I suppose you could look at it that way, but I always...
Well, because you thought
I always felt it was Palpatine saying to Vader, hey, it's your son. Because Vader looks at him because Vader responds skeptically saying, how is that possible? Or, that can't be true. My wife died. I remember. I tried to save her. She didn't make it.
I mean, it's funny. It must depend. But on because I also want to rewatch now. One thing too is that so the original version was actually a woman played the Emperor. Elaine Baker hear me out. Elaine Baker, the wife of Rick Baker, who is the makeup artist, wore a specifically made mask with chimpanzee eyes superimposed over her own, and the voice was dubbed over by Clive Revel.
Yeah, because I remember in the original version, like, or not the original version, but the earlier version, that they really kind of shy away from showing the Emperor's face too much.
Yes, but it looked, in my opinion, like it could have been, like, eventually when you have Ian McDiarmid with all the makeup. They look similar, in my opinion. But, of course, you know, to Lucas, it's just, no, we'll just throw that right in there. So, all you have to do is get the 2004 version, which to some of us seems like, you know, it was 11 years ago. We're doing this 2015, December. But to some people, it seems like it was so long ago in the sense that, like, you know, you and I think, were 12 at the time. Yeah, we were 12 at the time. So for us, we're just like, oh, yeah, you know, like that could have been our version, right? And it's kind of like, no, which is good because both you and I have the VHS tapes. My dad got them, you know, bless his heart.
Yeah, me too. My parents. Yeah. Now, mind you, it isn't the quote-unquote original because I think it is still like 1997 VHS, which was, you know, or it could be 1994, which we talked about last show, depending on which version you got. Even though it's VHS, it can, if it's after 85, there were still more changes done. Minimal, nothing story-wise like this fucking 2004 set, but still. Oh, by the way, new voice for Boba Fett in your DVD version. Yeah. You know, basically, the voice for Boba Fett now is Tamura Morrison, the actor who played Jango Fett and the Clone Troopers in Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Right.
Boba Fett was originally voiced over by Jason Wingreen. You know, let's see. What else? There's some, you know, I'm thinking, I don't think there is, just mostly stuff that was, you know, just digitally erased.
Yeah, there's also,
you know,
some other digital edits, kind of like how they did, like, pan-out shots of Mos Eisley Spaceport on Tatooine. They did that with Bespin Cloud City, too. Originally, Cloud City was, like, there was an interview with George talking about it, how it was very claustrophobic and very, like, closed off. Like, everything was walled off. There weren't any windows or anything, you know?
Yeah.
So they actually, like, opened up a lot of those scenes, some of them, like, running through the hallways and stuff like that. You can actually see Bespin in the background, you know? Which, you know, personally I think is a nice touch. It doesn't take away from anything, and it doesn't look really, like, it doesn't, I don't know. Personally, it doesn't look like they had to heavily edit, you know, this to make it look this. It's like, no, it kind of slips in there kind of nicely. Yeah, no, there are some edits that I think aren't bad. It's just the, you know, we talked about this, the idea that there's no other version unless you have to actually go back and buy, you know, another version. And also the fact that, you know, you know, we have to either go back and buy them. So, like, a Blu-ray version, you know, and also the idea that's just like, oh, let's make it Blu-ray. So you're like, wow, this is the coolest, best-looking version. But still you're going to have these edits in ways where, you know, you look at the Blu-ray. Let me check right here just to be sure. Wait, oh, no, it was actually special edition 1997. But this was also kept in the Blu-ray, I believe, where there are new shots on Hoth that show more of the Wampa ice creature. Yeah, including showing the Wampa eating and later screeching when its arm is cut off. Things like that I find silly because I'm just like, why does that need to be there? Well, because it's another idea that I saw with an interview with Lucas. It's kind of, it's your idea of what's more artistic because a lot of, like, monster films, like, you don't actually ever see the creature that attacks you, and that's how it was originally, but in the newer releases, it's more of, no, we want to actually see the thing that's trying to eat Luke.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't find, you know, like, I just don't like the idea of, you know, adding new special effects or, because, like, I understand, you know, oh, different shots, you know, maybe you want to use this shot rather than this shot, stuff like that. But even the idea, which we're not at yet, but, like, the idea of, you know, changing, like, the puppet to make it a CGI, you know, like, come on. If it's, you know, look, I know that in some ways it might be like, but Planet of the Apes, the Blu-ray for Planet of the Apes, the original, you can see the fucking what's it called? You can see the contrast between the person's actual skin color and the color used as the mouthpiece, right? Which you couldn't see in the DVD, VHS versions, but you can see in Blu-ray. But guess what? Those imperfections are going to happen. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's true. Hell, if you try and make it too good, where you try and remove all of the grain, you end up having a version of the Predator film where Arnold Schwarzenegger looks like a Madame Tussauds wax figure. It's true. I'm going to send you a picture of it after the show. They removed all of the grain in a way that where I saw the Jurassic Park Blu-ray, right? And I was so happy because the grain was kept in.
Right.
Now, I understand some parts you want to remove some grain here, or, remove it there. But if you remove all the grain and try your hardest to, what might end up happening is you're going to have a guy, when he sweats or just the general light reflecting off of him, he ends up, or she, or they, just end up looking like a wax figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, or, again, but, look, again, imperfections, stuff like that, that's how they were made, and again, I understand they're his films, and he, wants to, a film, according to him, a film is never really, films are abandoned.
Right.
Yeah, they're never really finished. They're just abandoned. So I get it. But the idea that we can't get the other versions is what always makes me a little uncomfortable. It's a little, kind of like, hey, guys, come on.
Kind of bothersome, too, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And look, again, we talked about it last
that.
show. We talked about it last show. You can never get to the quote-unquote original because, there were changes made when it was pulled from theaters
when it was
at
still
one
in
point,
theaters.
Yeah. So, you're never going to get a true quote-unquote original. And I do, and personally I consider, sound stuff being changed up and sound effects to be noteworthy, right? On the Wikipedia page for Star Wars re-edits, there is a whole list of not just the stuff that we're talking about, but actual this was changed here, this sound effect was changed here, and this color thing was changed there. And, I'm actually not that, I don't have a problem with, making R2-D2 have color when they're, when he's in the ship with Luke flying to Yoda. And what, in one of the earlier versions, R2-D2 was black and white in space. Then in a newer version, might be the one that you have, he's actually his normal colors, blue and white.
Right.
Is he blue and white for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, in an earlier version, he's actually black and white.
Huh.
So they corrected that. I don't know, maybe if they thought, he's in space, it's a different, because the only thing in color part was Luke.
Right.
So stylistically, as a style thing. You remember that now from the VHS.
Yes. Yes. Huh.
But,
that is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I actually don't have a huge problem with that. It's just, hey, let's add in the monster. Hey, let's remove the booby spaceships. By the way, I know you're like, what? What is Matt fucking talking about? The red spaceships, right? They look like normal spaceships to me, when they're trying to shoot down Han. But during certain exterior shots, when I saw that they were removed from other shots in newer, updated versions, when I see them, I'm like, they look like a breast, or bra, it's just a flying bra. And I was like, that's interesting. Not that there's a problem with it, not that I'm like, just I sat there and thought, maybe that's why they removed them, or they just wanted it to be a lot clearer, the skyline to be clear instead of having ships go by. But it was interesting.
Yes. Yeah.
It was very interesting. But yeah, so looking through, what?
Nothing.
I'm just trying to look.
Just keep going, man.
Okay, man.
I didn't think that was weird at all.
All right. Okay. All right. In the Blu-ray, you can see Leia's reflection in the Blu-ray now in Cloud City, a reflection in the window.
Oh, right.
That wasn't there before. But this is Blu-ray stuff, so you're not there yet. You're not there. Yeah. So I don't know when you'll be there, man.
I don't know.
Really don't know when you'll get. I don't know when you'll fucking get there. Dear God. But yeah, I mean, we just, we're always going to have little changes here and there. But yeah, I mean, as I just, what I do like is there were some digital releases this year of Star Wars. and no changes whatsoever other than changing the name of the company in the beginning because now Disney owns it, not Fox. I mean, for 5 and 6, technically
Right.
number 4 is episode 4 is still owned by Fox-ish. I think the CGI company technically owns it, but
Right.
a little bit of it at least. But 5 and 6 they just changed it to like Lucas, like his logo,
Right.
other than 20th Century. Other than that, though, no changes. So I do think that we could have a possible, like, interesting future ahead of us. We were probably going to have more changes when, with the 3D releases. But, I mean, that never happened because, well, A Force Awakens, I think we're all happy.
Yeah.
I think we're pretty fucking happy. And, yeah. So, anything you want to say before we wrap things up?
A few comments, but one of the more whimsical things, probably one of my favorite scenes with R2-D2 was when him and Luke crash land on Dagobah, and R2 falls in, and Luke's, R2, where are you? R2! And his periscope just pops up, and Luke is looking at him like, R2, you be more careful. And then, he's looking around and he's just whistling and beeping, but just the fact, like, that scene is where I started to realize, R2 is actually, like, kind of in a way speaking to the other characters. Like, his beeps and whistles are not just, beeping and whistling. It's like he is actually responding to you. And, Luke looks at him and he says, R2, that way? And I swear to God that the beep that he gives him, he goes, it sounds exactly like someone just going, oh, thank you, and then whistling as they walk along. I swear to God, that's what it sounds like to me. And I was so tickled as a kid when I finally realized that.
Yeah, no, because I guess, your kid version, the kid you thought, oh, he's talking, of course C-3PO understands him. He's a robot. He's a droid. But not the people, clearly everyone understands everyone in that universe. We just fucking don't.
Or like how Han understands Chewbacca.
Right, that's what I was basically saying. Everyone understands everyone, and hell, they all do too. They never said, hey, what did he just say? Like, no, everyone understands each other. We just don't, and the only ones we got subtitles for were for Greedo.
Right. Yeah, which is
I worry because
really
in 10 years from now, it'll be like, oh, hello, Han. Oh, Greedo.
Yeah. I hope not.
In 10 years, Greedo. In 10 years, Han Solo will be voiced over by Justin Bieber. Oh, Greedo. Oh, man.
I'm literally I'm going to find you and I'm going to kill you. I know that's a completely different movie, but I'm going to do that now that you've just said that. I will not stop. I will send out probe droids. I will send out walkers. I will send out the entire Imperial frickin' Starfleet Navy, and I will hunt your ass down for saying that sentence right now.
My God, I feel like I could have just, Greedo never even shot. And you're just like, nope, still focusing on the other one.
Yeah, Matt, you could have just kicked me in the junk right now, and I would have received it better than what you just said.
I love that. That's because of the video I showed you with the the American wrestler Joey Ryan and the Japanese wrestler.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to do that to you.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Oh God.
Wait, I'm confused. What are you going to do? You're going to try and kick me in the butt? Because
I'll let you dwell on it. I'll let your fear build up.
Because remember, the Japanese guy got reversed.
I know.
So I don't know which side you want to be on.
You know which side I'm going to be on.
Okay, you're going to get reversed. You're going to get reversed. Anyway, so we're at the end of our show. And we'd like to thank you all for listening in. And the one thing I want to end it off on is, so it feels like, is everyone just cool with the fact that, because to me it's weird, just having Lando totally right away in the Millennium Falcon. It just feels weird to me, dude. I think that's the note I want to leave it on. I know he redeemed himself, but everyone's smiling. And I'm just like, guys, it's one of those weird things because like I understand they don't want to end the movie on like a crying,
on
teary note.
Well,
yeah, on bad terms. But it's always interesting where it's just like, you know, in movie 4, it's just like, the Empire isn't gone yet, guys. Movie 5, not only is the Empire not gone, but
we're still
dead.
On the run.
Han is
Han
dead.
might be dead. We're still on the run. We have no base. We are still fucked.
Let's all smile and wave, everybody.
Well, I feel like
wave.
I feel like they're all okay because Chewie's still there, and if Lando tries to pull anything, Chewbacca will, you know, rip him in half virtually. So
I don't even think he has to try anything. I think just like he just wakes up every morning and Chewbacca's just breathing on him.
Yeah, pretty much. What I found really odd was the fact that Lando is wearing Han's clothes.
Okay, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, it literally felt as if it was just like, hey, I'm, you know, it's like, hey, so, I'm Lon Solrician, and are we cool with that? Is that, can I just be like Han Solo? Can I be African-American Han Solo? Is that what we're doing now?
I guess he just needed a change of clothes. I'm really not sure why that was a thing. Because it's not like he can even go in, like, disguise as, you know, quote-unquote Han if no one's seen him before. Because Boba Fett has Han right in the carbonite, so it's not like he's even in disguise or anything. It's
okay, no, because I thought you were going to be like, I'm Han Solo. Listen, look, man, I don't, like, you're not fucking Han Solo. What do you mean? Of course I'm Han Solo. Look,
I have him in my cargo hold.
That's not like I know how Han looks, and there's nothing wrong, man. But you're not Han Solo.
Yeah.
I'm really fucking sure that you're not Han Solo.
Han Solo.
Yeah, no. So it's just and Lando's like, is it the hair? Sure. Fucking sure it's the hair.
Yeah. It's the hair.
Jesus Christ. But no, yeah, Boba Fett too, which by the way, did not really get to see much of in this movie, but I mean, I assume from what I remember, will be making huge, you know, like a huge ripple in the next one.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Oh. Well, I mean, we'll be a part of the next one is what I'm trying to say.
He's probably just as part of the next one as he was in this one, to be completely honest.
All right, then my question is, before we end it off, you know, without any spoilers, what made the character so cool? As in, not like, what I mean by that is, like, what other appearances made people go, like, oh, you know, we want him in this, or he was so cool in this. Like,
I think it's just the armor, man.
No, not like that. I mean, I get you. No, I mean, like, was it, like, because of the armor, like, is that why everyone was just like, oh, and then, you know, and then they wrote books about him? Like, is he an animated series that I don't know about, or is it just the books?
I mean, I'm pretty sure Boba Fett got a lot of stuff in the expanded universe. I haven't, like, delved into his personal stories, really, but I know it's a lot of his stuff comes from expanded universe.
Okay. So then it's armor, really cool. We could have had so much from this character, and then we didn't.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
Not going to say why, but we didn't, right? And then all of a sudden, we just got more of him, and none of Boba in the prequels, because I can't recall.
You see him as a child, but no, you see more Jango.
Right, the Boba we fucking always wanted, of course. Just my little Boba, my little Boba.
Although he does make interesting appearances in the animated Clone Wars series, actually.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was asking about, more so animated stuff, too.
Still as a child, though.
My little... anyway, so... All right, we're ending the show. We would like to thank you all for listening in. And, so I'm going to talk about some of our social media stuff that we have. We have our main website, which is thoseguysonthe.radio.tumblr.com, our Facebook, /ThoseGuysOnTheRadio, our Twitter, @ThoseGuysRadio, our Instagram, /ThoseGuysOnTheRadio, and we also are on YouTube, we're on 2 YouTube channels. We have our main podcast, which is TGOTR, or Those Guys on the Radio, as well as our Let's Play, TGP, or Those Guys Play. You and I, Tristan, have played Star Wars Battlefront for Thanksgiving. We even have some more of that on the way, actually. We might be doing another series as well. Yeah, where we just play Battlefront, as well as other games that we expand on from our little own expanded universe, with what we've done, you know, in our actual Let's Play series, where you and I have not just played Star Wars Battlefront, you and I have played Luigi's Mansion for Halloween, at least, part 1 of our Halloween special. And you and I have also played an episode where we did Pets Crazy Monkeys, or Pets, I don't know. I don't care about it anymore. And we also played, though it's sad because if we do expand and we do, play games to try to beat them, we'd have to do Pets Crazy Monkeys.
No.
Hot Wheels Turbo Racing, we also did in that episode. So,
yeah.
But yeah, a lot of fun stuff, you can definitely check us out. Again, TGP, those guys play. A lot of other stuff. If you're a wrestling fan, we also have, our other podcasting buddy. We have a lot of others, but one of our others, Satish Ram, he's also, taken wrestlers' entrances from WWE games, and he's put them to new entrances, new music, really made some funny Frankenstein monster material. So you can, again, check us out. Check us out on TGP, those guys play. Also, right, we also have ourselves a Bandcamp account, Bandcamp, was it Bandcamp.com or is it /TGOTR? It's one of those, but I can tell you, because we have so much stuff, right? I'm just like, wait, is it / those guys or /TG? But it's TGOTR.bandcamp.com. That's what it is, Tristan. And from there, you can get our exclusive podcasts that we've done, where I know that, I've done with Satish Ram, we've done WWE SummerSlam 2005 as well as WWE Unforgiven 2005. And you can get those both for the low price of $1 each. And, exclusive podcast content. You can pay more if you want to support us or just the $1. And I know that Tristan and I are actually going to be starting up soon, at least an episode here and there, our own, review, not reviews. The word is, I can't think of the word, Tristan, help me.
Is it riff?
Thank you so much. I love you. I'm going to hug you next time I see you and also get you to do more riffs. We're going to be doing a riff of some Dragon Ball Z episodes, so you can definitely check that out. Again, we'll post it as we go on through our social media accounts and other stuff like that. We also have our Gmail, those guys on the radio @gmail.com. You can email us there if you want us to promote you on our show, or if you just want to suggest different show ideas to us. Oh, what if you guys did Star Wars this, or, other show that, or other thing this, because, other movie and stuff like that, because we love a lot of things, right? And you might not know that we like something, or we might not have watched whatever show or movie, you may, or video game you may bring to us, and then we'll play them. We'll play or we'll talk about them or whatever it might be. So yeah, we would love for you guys to just, email us or message us on the website and just send us different show ideas. But yeah, before we go, we also have ourselves two websites for merchandise. You can buy T-shirts from us off Screened, SKREENED.com/TGP merchandise, as well as on CafePress.com/TGOTR merchandise. And you can get a lot of different funny T-shirts and other material as well from those, websites. Again, CafePress.com/TGOTR merchandise, as well as Screened, SKREENED.com/TGP merchandise. So yeah, we're at the end of our show. We did it. Yeah.
We did it.
So next week for Star Wars Wednesday, we should be, coming out. Well, that's what we're doing here, right? We're doing Star Wars Wednesday. You've shared the post. That's what we've been doing. Last week was Wednesday. We had the episode come out. This one we're doing it live on Wednesday. So yeah, next week for Star Wars Wednesday, we're going to try and, do the next movie, Return of the Jedi. Episode V1, Episode VI, Episode 6, but really the third one. So not necessarily the sixth one, but if someone asks you, it's the sixth one. We don't watch it sixth. Do not watch it.
Don't hurt yourself.
We love you all for listening in. I didn't hurt myself today.
Okay,
and I didn't. And so again, thank you all, and say goodnight, Tristan.
Yep. Thank you, everybody, and may the Force be with you.
And also with you.
Progressive presents Get Pumped. Inspiration to help you do insurance stuff.
Okay, time out. You're gonna let your budget be the boss of you? Take control with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Tell us what you want to pay for car insurance, and we'll help you find options that fit your budget. Here's some music to get you pumped. Da-dong, 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 dang, dang. I hear your budget laughing at you. Oh, wait, that's just those kids laughing at me. Ignore them! Da-dong, da-dong,
Progressive
da-dong.
Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
What a matchup!
And what a team, Mike. Metro PCS and the iPhone SE for $0 on a network that covers 99% of people in the U.S. Oh, impressive.
Play with the best. Switch to Metro PCS on an unlimited LTE plan and get a 32-gig iPhone SE for $0. Metro PCS. Coverage not available in some areas, plus sales tax. Claim based on talk and text. Not valid for active numbers currently on the T-Mobile network or active on Metro PCS in the past 90 days. See store for details and terms and conditions.